Okay, class, we're going to do the last example here. It's number 4 on page 104. Okay, yeah, we'll use a different color. In an effort to assess the effectiveness of a particular Christian university, an inventory was constructed to measure the level of spiritual maturity of Christians. Our own Todd Hall of Rosemead School of Psychology has done something along these lines, although spiritual maturity turns out to be difficult to measure. And so there's an open discussion about this. I made up data in the spirit of this ongoing research project. The inventory maximum is 180 with mean of 100. A random sample of 99 graduating seniors of the Christian university took it, and 73 from Christian clubs at a neighboring secular university took it the same year. The results were as follows. And so we can see the data here. You've got different means, different standard deviations. Okay, data is in this file. Christian university scores are coded by 0, secular by 1. Is there a spiritual maturity difference between Christians at the two schools? We're going to use a 1% level of significance, and we'll do it by hand and on R. Okay, so space-wise, I'm going to pop back to this little spot that I've put. So this is question number 4. And we're going to do part 1, null hypothesis. Now, as I'm looking at my data, I want to note that this is 2 sample data. So I'm just going to peek over at that page 112 again and notice that I don't have a single mean here. There's 2 individual samples, which takes me to the difference of means case. Complicated standard error formula, but tractable. This is the very one that we did in a confidence intervals case, not too many chapters back. Okay, so I'm switching here. All right. Null hypothesis then is that I want to put, let's put the secular second. So we'll do mu of the Christians minus mu of the secular school equals 0. That is no difference in spiritual maturity scores. By contrast, for the alternative hypothesis, we're going to have mu Christian minus mu secular. And it says, is there a difference? So we're going to use not equal to. That's our two-tailed test. So difference in spiritual maturity scores could go either way. We'll use alpha is 0.01. And checking, let's see, I'm going to do a check here. Do I have a random sample? Yes, those are both random samples. And is my sample size n in Christian greater than or equal to 30? Yes. And secular, that one was 73, greater than or equal to 30. So that checks. This NC was 90. 99? 99. All right, so number 2, the statistic. Okay, the statistic here is the difference x bar Christian minus x bar secular, which turns out to be 89.3 minus 72, which is going to be 11.2. Standard error is exactly, we do sigma, in our case Christian, looking for the eraser here, sigma Christian squared over n Christian plus sigma secular squared over n secular, all square root. So a lot going on in that. We have 28.9. You want to make sure you can do this on your calculator. Divided by the 99 plus 37.7 over 73, and then take the square root of that guy, and that standard error is 5.28. Okay, so I got my stat, I got my standard error. I'm going to set up my normal curve, as is our custom. Null distribution has center at 0. So popping in a 0, and the difference here, x bar Christian minus x bar secular side, it's an 11.2 difference. So sketching that curve, and I want to shade that tail. Okay, it's a two-tailed test, so I want to note that. I'm going to come and do that at the end. So we'll fill that out. Let's go to the z-score. The center always maps to 0 for the z-score. I don't know what that side is going to be. So z-score is always stat minus parameter divided by standard error, which is, let's see, 11.2 is my statistic, difference of means. The parameter comes from the middle of the curve or the null and alternative hypotheses, that's 0. Pretty typical to do that. Standard error was 5.28, which gives a 3.23. How am I getting that? 89.372. 11.2 is wrong. That would be a 17.2. And I'm not going to redo this webcast. I'm just going to go with it. 17.2. Okay, 17.2. 17.2. Now, when I divide by 5.28, I'm going to get the number 3.23. That's correct. All right, so we have a corrected result here. Good. Okay, so 3.23 goes in. Good. All right, p-value time. P-value is always the probability that z is somehow related to that z-score, 3.23. In our case, well, always, we just use the value from the alternative hypothesis. In this case, it's not equal to, which means that I'm not only using the right-hand side, but I'm using the left-hand side as well, which means I'm going to say 2 times whatever probability tail I would use. If I wanted z greater than 3.23, I need to double it to account for both right and left. So that's going to be 2 times. I take that 3.23, I run it over to my z table, and 3.23 is going to look like this guy, 0.9994. So jumping back here, we had 0.9994, and so that's the left tail region. So this guy here is 1 minus 0.9994. 2 times that is going to be 0.0012, doubling it. All right, so that gives me step 3, Step 4 is the decision. P-value is 0.0012, less than the alpha that I chose of 0.01, which implies, again, we reject the null hypothesis. So we conclude there is a difference in mean spiritual maturity scores. Now, since I know there's a difference at the 1% level, and I know that the Christian is higher, then we can conclude the Christian school scores are higher. So I can conclude the right hand of the curve, even though the test was for both, because I know there's a difference, and I know the difference is on the right-hand side. Those two facts allow me to conclude this. Now, I want to just do two more things, and we'll have it. So the first one is, what kind of error would be possible here? So, possible error, when you reject the null hypothesis, that's a type 1. And the easier name is the false positive. If we did the false positive, we would be concluding the Christian school has higher maturity, but we're wrong. Okay? And I'm out of space for that. So it would just be the negation of the conclusion that I put. Now, the last one is to do this one on R. So I'm going to go on over to R, and we had our movie ad attached, so I'm going to detach that, get rid of that guy. Now, spiritual maturity, chapter 23, look at that data. Notice I've got 172 observations, that's 99 plus 73, and the V1 is zeros and, oh, look at that, ones. 0 is Christian, 1 is secular. If that is reversed from the directions, nope, they're not. That's what the directions say. Concerned there. Okay, we got it. Now, take a look. Let's attach it. So now that I'm attached, let's run the t.test. How do you run the t.test? Well, we do V2, that's the scores. Two ways to do this thing. I can do tilde V1. That's the common model format which we used in chapter 10, linear regression. That is to say, this is the response variable according to the explanatory variable. In this case, it's a two-category explanatory variable. Mu is 0, no difference, and the alternative is two-tailed, so I don't need to put anything in. Hit that, and I've got the t statistic. We had 2.3, it's got 2.8, that's round-off error only. And let's see, p-value. Okay, p-value 0.0013. We got 0.0012. So you can see using a z versus a t is pretty close. And that covers it. So God bless you, and I'm turning you over to Crystal. You will be in very good hands. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to email me, see me on my office hours. I will be back. Well, I'll be around all of next week, so you can get a hold of me, even though we don't meet on Friday because it's Good Friday. And may it truly be good for you.